So welcome to the show. I'm so glad you're wearing purple today because that shall be my first question for you. So tell us about purple. Why you're always in purple, and tell me about the marketing genius. I met him a little bit before. And so who is this mysterious guy?
Okay, so my name is Violet. Okay, it's actually given to me by my dad. Okay, so my dad, when he was growing up, he came across this name, and then he said that if he ever have a daughter, he would name her Violet because he felt that it was a very unique name. So that was the name that I was given, but I only used it during kindergarten. Yeah, and after that, like when I went to primary school, I stopped using it because I actually went to a Chinese school and most people couldn't pronounce the name and then they make fun of it. They are like, toilet, pilot. And I think with a Chinese school, usually we go with the Chinese name anyways. So very quickly, I dropped Violet and I just used my Chinese name, which is Xiao Yan. Yeah, so for the longest time, like primary, secondary, even when I did my A-levels, it was Xiao Yan. And it was only when I did my master's when I went back to Violet. Yeah, so it's quite interesting because people who meet me at different stages of my life, they would know me as a different name. Yeah. So when we started the business, we were of course thinking how we're going to brand it, how we're going to position it, and when it comes to color, we think that color is very important. Like how the brand feels, and being in the love business, of course, like the so-called de facto color is like red, right? But we felt that red is a bit too in your face. Yeah, and then we thought blue is quite good because it convey like trustworthiness. Like that's why all your banks are like blue, right? But we thought again that's too corporate. So we thought purple, or violet is quite nice. It's sort of like in between. Yeah, and it's also like the color of royalty and things like that. And I guess coincidentally, my name is Violet as well. I did not start off wearing violet all the time. Yeah, but it was maybe 1 year into the business, and then my then boyfriend, now husband Jamie, yes. So he suggested like, why not whenever you have media appearances, just dress in violet. Then, it's sort of like, it's a good anchoring, like people can remember you, right? And I thought, yeah, that seems like a good idea. And that was when I started doing it. And the more I did media appearances and I had to start like getting more clothes in the color of purple. So eventually now like 80% of my wardrobe is in violet. Yeah. So it's quite funny because when people see me not in purple, they will be like, hey, Violet, how come you're in black today? As if it's like a very strange thing. And I'm like, I do have a clothes in other color.
So Chinese New Year is also violet, or
The first day was actually in
okay.
pink this year. The second day was in violet.
Wow. And who is this a mysterious person? Tell me a little bit about Jamie.
Okay, so Jamie and I met when we were in university. Yeah, and I always tell my clients, right? I say, then I wasn't so enlightened. I say, like when I was looking out for a boyfriend, then it was very simple. I have like 3 golden rules.
Wow.
Yeah, so
Okay,
I say he must be taller than me. Yeah, then he must be smarter than me, and he must love me. Yeah, so Jamie, I met him actually at an event. So we were at the I was at the Malaysian Student Society. We were having an AGM. Yeah, and then he came to lend us the projector. So I was actually running for president. Yeah, and then subsequently, I didn't get president. Yeah, though he was very puzzled, like why did I run for president in the first place? Because I was like a direct entry student. So that means I didn't do my first year in University of Manchester. I actually did it in Malaysia. And then second year, I went to Manchester. So technically, I mean, if you're running for election, right, like it's a popularity contest. The more friends you bring, the chances of you winning is higher. Yeah, but obviously, me being very idealistic, I thought like, as long as I have good plans for the society, I give a fantastic speech, I would stand a chance. So he was quite interested to find out who is this person, right, who just came and like running for president. So
that matters too, by the way.
so I mean, I didn't win, but subsequently they say, why don't you run for general secretary? Of which I didn't prepare a speech for general secretary. I wasn't sure what was I supposed to say. But coincidentally, Jamie is the general secretary of the Singapore Student Society. So he shared with me like the pointers, like this is what you should say, to like win as a general secretary, which I did, and then I got the position. So that was how we first met.
Oh.
Yeah, but actually when we first met, I was seeing someone else, so there was like no romantic interest. Yeah, but subsequently we met again like about 2-3 years down the road.
But he did prove the point that he's smarter.
Yeah. So 2-3 months down the road, we met again at the Singapore Student Society dinner and dance. Yeah, and that by the time I've broken up with like the person I was seeing.
Oh, that was fast.
And that was how we started. Yeah. Another thing is that we actually only dated for 3.5 months. Like, that means we met each other physically 3.5 months. And after that, we have a 2.5 years long distance relationship.
Yeah, because you went to study.
Yeah, I continued my degree and then my master's.
And he did too. He went somewhere else.
No, he graduated.
Back then he was
Yes,
graduated
yes,
already.
that's right. Yeah.
Oh wow, that is crazy that you can live at long distance relationship and still make it happen.
Yes, yes.
And so it's a good rare anomaly and people who have
Yeah,
long
and that's
relationship
why I just
should
want to
learn
say
from
that
you.
I just got very lucky because I wasn't really looking out for things that I should have been looking out, which is what we are sharing with our clients nowadays. Yeah, but I just got lucky, and like with my very shallow and superficial criteria, I managed to find the right guy.
Hey, you know what? So tell me a little bit about the qualities of Jamie after dating. That sort of made you, jump like pull the trigger.
Mm, so when I first met Jamie, I felt that he has this very he always looks very troubled. Yeah, so that's something that like some other people think as well. But once I get to know him, actually he opens up. Like he's actually an introvert. When we first met, subsequently when we started dating, it was quite funny. It's like I brought him to my high school reunion, like 10-year high school reunion, and he actually brought a book.
Do you remember what book is it?
No, he's just very introverted. So he was like just thinking, he doesn't know who he should be talking to. So he brought a book just in case he gets very bored. Yeah, but after we got to know each other, I would say we just gelled very well. Like I would say we are very good friends. Yeah, and I think that's very, very important in any relationship because like the initial passion, like eventually it will fizzle out. But it's very important to have that connection. So even up to today, like we have been together for since we know each other is 17 years. Yeah, and we still can talk. Like we can just keep talking and talking and talking. So the connection is there. And another thing that really impressed me about Jamie is that he really looked after other people. Yeah, he always put other people first than himself, which sometimes also can be a problem. Yeah, but I felt that he's just so kind, and I feel that this quality is very important in like someone that I want to spend the rest of my life with.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Wow. I hope Jamie listens to this. Okay, so let's. I think you do a lot of things, right? So maybe this is a good starting question. If someone were to come to you on the streets, and maybe to this day, even if you're in violet, right, in purple, and they come up to you, hey, what do you do?
Yes.
How would you answer that question?
I usually would start to say like I'm a professional matchmaker because usually that would be like they'll double take. Yeah, then after that I'll share a bit with them like what else I do because of course like matchmaking is my chosen profession, but to me the very interesting part is building the business as well. So I do see myself as an entrepreneur.
No, we are going to talk a little bit about that because
Yes.
I'm just while doing my research, I was just like flabbergasted of the things that you have done. And guess what? It's been around for 15, if I'm not-
13 years.
13
Yes.
years already.
Yes, that's
Wow!
right.
And you did like 5 acquisitions,
Yes.
and you have expanded all around Southeast Asia.
Yes.
Oh yes. And now wait, so correct me if I'm wrong. This number here. So this is like a 90 people company, or have they grown?
Currently
Or
we are
shrink?
at 110.
Oh my god. Okay, 110.
Yes.
And there's an amazing team. Well, there's you, Jamie, and then you subsequently got a few others, Caden, to join as well. So, one thing I'm very curious about is that when you started Lance, actually, the vision wasn't, you say it wasn't to start a mom and pop shop. And in fact, your first sale was actually done by associate.
Yes.
Yeah. So who and why has influenced you to build the business in this fashion?
Okay, so actually my parents, they are not very supportive of me like quitting my job and starting a business initially because they have been running small businesses for the longest time, and I think they felt that it was really difficult. So me, being an only daughter, like obviously they want the best for me. So they were very willing to invest in me to get a very good education. So actually I read law at Manchester, and then I did a master's in London School of Economics, and my first job was actually with a bank. So actually when I first told them I wasn't going to be a lawyer, they were not not too happy. but you know, they thought, okay, banker is you know, very good as well, right? So then they were like, okay, fine, you know, go and be a banker. And I think the reason is that being small business owners themselves, they know it's just very, very tough, you know, because you most of the time it needs you to be in the business. Yeah. And so when Jamie and I started this business, like from day one, we knew that we do not want to be working in the business. We want to be working on the business. Because I think if we are just working within the business, it's very difficult to grow it. Yeah, so I think from day one, that was a very clear vision that we wanted. And that's why we hired someone from day one. You know, if you think about it, we could have just done it on our own. Like, you know, he could have been like the operations, and I could be the, you know, front facing, and that's it. But we knew that because we wanted to grow it, so from day one we already hired someone. Yeah, and I think the other thing is we also understand that this business is very niche. So if we want to, you know, make it to a certain size, it's very difficult to just be in Singapore as well. So again, from day one, we knew that we have to expand out of Singapore, which I think to us then it didn't seem very different until like we started meeting other people, and then they will start asking us questions like, oh, you're so daring, you know, so courageous. How come you are so quick to like just expand to a new market? But I think for us, it was something we didn't feel that was a choice.
Because that was the vision all along, too.
Yes. I mean, it's like if you ask me right now, like, did I know then that we would be where we are right now? I would say I didn't have such a clear vision or direction then. But what I knew is that we wouldn't be a mom and pop shop. Like, we will like expand as much as we can, because I think the objective is also like we want to reach out to as many singers as possible. Because I mean, since we are helping singers, and if we have already built up the pipeline, the system, why not, you know, reach out to more people?
Wow, that is fascinating, because like what you said, a lot of people would actually start off with a mom and pop shop first, and then maybe making that happen. You guys just totally skipped that step, and went ahead like, well, let's just do the whole, which is what's very common now, which is the whole startup thing, and like, get funding and all, right? And so you talk about you took a law degree back in London.
Manchester.
Manchester, correct. What sort of gave you the courage to switch, like, you know, mid-place? Because I mean, mom and dad obviously really want you to do law.
Yes. For me, it was not so much the courage. For me, it was like when I did law, there was a reason why I did law. Okay, so first, of course, by a process of elimination, because I don't like math. Yeah, and it's like there's not many degrees out there where you can totally not have math. Yeah, I already checked it out. Okay. Yeah, law is one of the very few.
Doctor?
I am afraid of blood. so I eliminated that out very early, you know, like as I was growing up. So that was one of the reasons. The other reason is why I went into law was I wanted to either practice family law or criminal law. Yeah, and the reason for that is because I enjoy working with people. And I feel that these are the two fields, like it's like very clearly, you know, you're working with people. So when I was studying law, I actually you know, join a law firm during my school holidays to help out, to find out more. And when the boss knew that I was interested in family law and criminal law, so he gave me some cases to read. And for the family law, the more I read, the more depressed I got. Yeah, because I remember one of the most depressing cases I read is where the one of the clients, right, our client, actually asked us to draft a letter to his ex-wife or ex-husband. I can't remember, you know, like who we were representing. So basically, it just says that our client would like to instruct your client to pick up their son like next week, Wednesday at 4 p.m. from the school. So it's like so depressing, right? Like they can't even talk to each other like on such a trivial matter without sending a legal letter. Yeah, so to me that was very depressing. And then we also went to court to you know, like observe like divorce cases, and that's when I realized that getting married and getting divorced is quite similar. Yeah, so you say I do, but instead of saying I do to getting married, you say I do to getting divorced. So I just cannot imagine, like, you know, doing this for the rest of my life. And I think criminal law was also eliminated because my boss was saying that it's not a very good place for women to walk in and out of prisons all the time. Yeah, so that was the reason why after a couple of attachments at the law firm, I decided that I wasn't going to practice law. And once I made the decision, I started like picking subjects that I was interested in. So it's not very helpful, honestly. Like on hindsight, maybe I should have studied like corporate law, and and things like that, which I didn't. So I was studying things like law, medicine and ethics, law of freedom of speech, media law, which are things that I'm very interested in, but might not be very helpful going forward. Yeah.
Wow, and so how did that brought up to mom, and was it like a payphone? Because Agent Pan, which I just interviewed, and he was like he need to like do it on the payphone, and it was like a lot of shouting
I think that time it was still okay, because like I think they didn't understand like whatever subjects I take, what kind of impact it would have anyways, right? So to them it's like it's fine, you still have a law degree. Yeah, but I think what really got them by surprise, and they didn't take so well, was when I told them I was going to quit my job at the bank to start a matchmaking agency. Yeah, so that was really quite funny, because I took a coach back to KL, that's where my parents are, and then I sort of like, okay, I have very important news to tell you, like sort of sit them down, and I actually went with Jamie. So maybe like they were hoping like I was saying I was going to get married or something, right? I don't know. So I was like, Dad and Mom, I'm going to quit my job, and I'm going to which the face already start to change, right? And I'm going to start a matchmaking business, and it's like their jaw like dropped literally, right? And then after that, once they recovered very quickly, they like asked me why, and then I shared with them that, oh, Jamie and I, we want to do this together, and then they were very smart, because Jamie by then have already quit his job for close to a year. Because Jamie was very clear that he wanted to run a business, but he just didn't know what business exactly he wanted to do. So he was looking around for business ideas. And when I shared this idea with him, he really caught on, because he was working in a bank as well, and he could see why there's a gap in the market. So anyway, back to my parents. So they were like, oh yeah, since Jamie has already quit his job, why not, he focus on it, and you do it part-time, and if things kind of work out, then you can quit your job and join him. Which is very logical if you think about it. Yes. But I think I'm the type of person that if I do something, I want to give it my 100%. So it's either I do it or I don't do it at all. Because I do not want to have regrets. I do not want to one day look back, for example, if the business didn't work out, I don't want to look back one day and think like, what if? What if I've quit my job and have done this 100%? Would it have worked out? Yeah, so finally, right, I understood why I studied law. So with the persuasion skills, that I've honed, right. I managed to, like persuade them and explain to them why this is a good idea.
It is so fun. Yeah, but no, so a little bit backstory, a little bit. Yeah. So I was chatting with Agent Pan, and I was like, hey, I was doing research, Agent. Like I was talking to Agent Tan, which is the author and a lawyer of the teenage text. I was like, hey, no, you guys are both from, oh no, actually we're the same class. Oh, wow. Yeah, and we were chatting with Agent Tan, and he was talking about persuasion, and there's a lot of people are not doing that enough, and there's very different between logical argument and persuasion. I was like, oh wow, fascinating. I'm glad you picked that out, if not, lunch actually wouldn't be where it is here today.
And then they begrudgingly, reluctantly gave me their blessings. But I mean, once they jumped in, definitely they have been our greatest supporters. Yeah.
Fantastic. So, you have this vision of this company, and now you need to raise some funds, and I read that you guys raised probably about 150,000, and
more. Yeah.
So
when we first started, you mean? Oh yes, about there. Yes, that's right. Yeah.
And back then it was like 13 years ago, so it was like quite a bit. Yes. So what was the pitch that you guys brought to the investors?
I would say again, I mean, we were very, very blessed. Like seriously. So when we had this idea of what we wanted to do, again, we were very clear that we wanted to raise enough funds to be able to run it properly. Not just like starting very small, but I mean it's still starting small. But at least we felt that we needed a proper office, and to have that for rental and things like that, right? So we figured that we probably need about 150,000. So the first thing we did was to sit down and write a business plan. Yeah, and of course, both of us do not really have much experience in writing business plans. So, like doing all the research online and whatever templates we have and coming together with something, right? So we come up with the business plan, and then we started coming out with a list of people that we can potentially pitch to. So people have asked, why didn't we just go to family and friends, which is a very common route, like for people to start out with. But I think for us, we were not sure whether this was going to work out. So, I mean, of course, yes, you put your heart into it, you work very hard to make sure it works out, but there's no guarantees, right? Yeah. And I think we were just very afraid that what if it doesn't work out, and we do not want to let our friends and family down. Yeah, so with that thought in mind, like what our plan was to put in all our own savings, yeah, into it, and then raise the other half.
So you guys put 70.
Yeah.
Wow.
So we went out and we had a list, and the first person we approached.
Tell me about the list. How do you came out with the list?
The list would be, people that we met through our career, because I worked for about 1.5 years,
That's
and then
right.
Jamie worked for about 2 years each. Yeah, and then the people that we met in the different, I would say, committees or like organizations that we joined. So the first person we approached is actually someone that we know from Toastmasters. Yeah, so Toastmasters is a public speaking club. And so the story actually is that when I was studying in London for my masters, Jamie joined a public speaking club, Toastmasters, in Singapore. And then he was telling me about it. He said it's really good, and then he said, why don't you join one in London as well? Yeah, which I did. So then when I came back to Singapore, like we joined the same club. So during those years, we served on the board as well. Yeah, and so the first person we approached is someone that we know from there, and he was also the committee member around the same time as us. He doesn't really know the dating business. Yeah, he has no idea, like, what is it, like, why would it work, but he told us like upfront that he was investing because of us. Yeah, so he said that when he invests, it's more about he say it's not on the horse, but it's on the jockey. Yeah, so he feels that we are the jockey and the business is the horse, right? So he said that based on his working experience with us, like he feel that we have the X factor, and that was the reason he invested. So in that sense, we were very lucky, because like we only pitched once, and then we got the
So you got
investment. Yeah.
What? So you got the rest? The rest of the.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
You know, these days is so sad. I mean, not sad, but I mean, it's so scary, this whole pitching thing.
Yes,
and,
yes,
and
definitely.
everybody has been like, oh, no, I didn't get
Yes.
this round. And no, let's
Yes.
do it for next round.
Yes, yes.
Also, you were just lucky to have someone.
Because I
Wow.
think, like, we have worked together previously,
Yeah.
and like based on his working relationship with us and how he saw us like pushing the club. Because I think when you're working in a committee like for Toastmasters or other organizations, it's a voluntary organization. So I think people could see that even if you're not paid, but you're so passionate about it. I think maybe those were some of the things that he saw in us.
Wow. That's great. And so paint us of this picture of this first office that you got for lunch actually. How does it look like? Paint a picture.
It's about 700, 800 square feet. Once you walk in, that's the logo wall, and then on your left, that's the working office. It can fit about 5 people, and then on the right, that's a small little like lounge. Yeah, and then there are 3 meeting rooms.
Ooh. Yes. This is where the magic happens.
Yes. Yeah.
And your first sales is by this associate.
Yes, that's right.
So tell me about your first client. Like how did he know about you, and how do you feel?
So when we first started, it was really through word of mouth. So like we tell our friends, our relatives, like this is what we are doing, and then we say like, if you know of any friends who are single, please recommend them to us. Because we are starting out, we are having a very special special rate. So that's how it went about. And this first client is actually a friend of our brother-in-law.
And I mean, if you don't mind, like what is the special rate and about this client? Is she still a friend? And
Oh yes, definitely.
Oh,
He's still
wow.
a friend. I mean, he's now happily married. He didn't meet
okay.
someone through us.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
but he gave very good feedback, on that consultation
Testimonials.
itself, and of course, gave us testimonial on the service. Yeah.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yes.
No, I mean, I would just want to underscore that a little bit for anybody who are starting a business is really just to reach out to your closer circles.
Yes.
And hopefully, I mean, your business don't end there.
Yes,
but
yes.
if those people that come over to you and start raving about your business or recommending others, then there's something
Yes.
that
true.
you can work on.
Yes.
And as a first-time manager, because you are really sort of like you distance yourself from being an associate already
Yes,
and being a manager.
Yes.
How do you strike the balance of being firm and being related?
Oh, it's very, very difficult. Yeah, I mean, like, seriously, like, I think that was one of the biggest challenges, because when I quit my job, I was 24 years old, and obviously when I joined the bank, like, I joined it as an entry-level staff, right? And I mean, I've never had any
RM.
management experience. No, not even RM.
No, oh.
Yeah, I joined as a management associate.
Oh,
So
wow,
we
it's very
get
unfor-
so we get like rotated quite a bit, and then from there, like they'll see whether you have like potential, then they will fast track you, right? But I wasn't there yet. Like, so it was like still very entry level. So when we started a business, one of the things that we need to hire, we need to manage, we need to retain and things like that. And I think I made a similar mistake that most managers make, which is you try and be their best friend. So in a way, you try and bribe them. Like, so you're thinking like the nicer you are to them, the more you bribe them, the more likely they will do their work well and things will go well, which actually doesn't work. Yeah.
What happened? What happened, if you don't mind sharing?
Yeah. So I think what happened was like chances are you'll be taken for granted. You know, like you'll be taken opportunity of. And it came to like quite a bad situation where I think like the general manager then almost like wanted to do like a coup. You know, like getting all our existing people to kind of leave us or like to rebel against us. So it was really stressful. And that time I was pregnant with my daughter. Yeah, so it was so stressful that initially the plan, because I gave birth to my son in Malaysia, because my mom is in Malaysia, so it's just much easier, you know, she's there to help me with the confinement and things like that. So that was the plan for my daughter as well. So I've booked my gynae, I booked the hospital room and things like that, right? And I couldn't go back because things was just so bad. And then I couldn't spare that 1 month to go back because I have to go back a month before I'm due, because if not then, you know, it's a bit too, mafan and things like that. Yeah, so it's like all of a sudden, like I have to figure out, okay, where am I going to give birth? You know, I have to like find my gynae.
On top of this new stress.
Yes,
Wow.
And I mean, this is a side note of the story, right? That's
Yeah,
why now
it links to the story.
yeah, which I tell like pregnant ladies or like moms to be. So I tell them, right, like how you are during the pregnancy would really affect your baby, because I really see that in my kids.
Oh no.
Yeah, I'm serious. So when I was pregnant with my son, that year, right, like that 9-10 months, you know, I was with him, like it was like I would say the best. Like I was so relaxed. I don't know whether it's him or it's me, but I was like, you know, going through life like, you know, it's the everybody is so nice, you know, the world is so beautiful. I am like, yeah, world peace, you know, like there's the kind of thought that go through my mind like that entire period. And when my son was born, he's like very cheerful. He's really like sunshine. Like he brings so much joy and laughter to our entire family. And till today, you know, he's very positive, you know, very optimistic. When I was pregnant with my daughter, you know, like I mentioned, I was just so stressed, right? I have to like be like, you know, trying to like firefight, make sure that my team doesn't leave me, you know, trying to make sure the business continue to grow. And once my daughter was born, I would say she's really like a grumpy baby. And for the first few years of her life, like I mean, first 2 or 3 years of her life, she really rarely smiled. Yeah, but I think subsequently, because you know we shower her with so much love and attention and everything, right? Like now she's like on track. You know, she's okay. Yeah. So this is something to take note of for, you know, our viewers out there who are planning to get pregnant.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so what you know, after that whole, you know, wow, this must be really tough for you.
Yes.
And what do you learn, or what tools have you picked up to help in that manner?
I then like subsequently really learn how to strike that balance, like, you know, how to yeah. So from that story, right, so from being like really nice, I swung to the other side of the pendulum. I'm like, oh, okay, fine, you know, like being nice doesn't work, you know, like I am so invested, I wanted to be your friend, and then you don't want to be my friend, right? You know, so yeah, exactly. So I just went to the other side and like, okay, forget it. I'm just going to be like this really bitchy boss, you know, like let's draw a line very clearly, you know. Obviously that doesn't work as well. So it took me a while to really find that balance. And I think the balance is really like, they know work is work, yeah, but they also know that, you know, if they have any problems, like they can come to me. My doors are really always open. Like in fact, you know, like later if I can just show you a tour around, like I do not have my own office, so I sit in an open office with all my associates from day one, and that's the way we wanted it to be, and that has worked out really well.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
So what you meant is just so you define work as work, but at the same time with the openness to help.
Yes. So it's like, I think I have come to accept that probably I can never be at the same level. Like for example, my associates and their fellow associates, I can't have that level of closeness. So I've come to accept that, and it's a bit difficult because actually I am a very you know, DISC is a profiling test. Yeah. So I'm very high I. Yeah, so to me, it's like that's why I started off with like wanting to be everybody's best friend, right? But I realized that there needs to be that balance. Yeah, so I'm close to them. It's like we can talk about things, but at the same time, like they know that I'm boss. Like there's like KPIs we need to hit and things like that.
No, that's awesome. I hope people who are entrepreneur, first time entrepreneur, or hiring the first person don't get too beaten if they are having the experience of
Yes.
being a nice person,
Yes.
but also don't swing to the other end.
Yes, if that doesn't work.
Yeah, well, try to find a balance.
Yes.
You mentioned about building great teams and
Mhm.
surrounding yourself with competent people.
Yes.
Do you have a process, or how do you go about try to spot this and try to ask them to join your tribe?
I think definitely when you first start a business, it's not easy to get good people because honestly, people have no idea what you're doing, and then like the industry that we are in is so niche, so they will be like, okay, what is this? Yeah, but of course, as we grow, like the reputation grow and it gets easier. So I think right now the process that we have in place is that we have a few rounds of interview. So the first interview would be skill set. Yeah, but that's just to make sure that they are able to do whatever they are hired to do. But more importantly is the second interview, which is the culture interview. So the the person who is hiring for culture actually have veto. So both sides have veto. Like for some reason, if the person who is interviewing for culture feels that this person wouldn't be a good fit for our company.
Can you explain veto a little bit?
Yeah, so for example, like the hiring manager is like say, oh, this person has all the skills that we need, like will be a A player in terms of skill set. But the person who is interviewing for culture, which is someone who is no vested interest. So two different places. Yes, two different. So the person interviewing for culture would not be in the same department as the hiring manager. So, yeah, so because we feel that when it comes to finding the right person, right, like I always draw this like sort of grid for them, right? So on one hand we have the performance, on the other hand we have the culture or attitude. So even though the person's performance is very high but their culture is very low, that doesn't work out. Like in fact, like those are the people that are what we call like toxic or poison, like people we should get rid of as soon as possible. So we are more open to, like, let's say people who are very high on culture but maybe performance they could be better. But I mean, of course it cannot be very bad, but could be better because those people we can groom and train. Yeah, or maybe we could just make sure that they are in the right we call it the right seat in the right bus lah. Because for example, I have had one associate. She started off with us as sales. So she didn't really make the cut in terms of the KPI that we have set out for her then. Then we had another position which was as what we call a coordinator, which is they work with the clients to arrange the date, to matchmake the client. And she was okay, but that was also not like, I wouldn't say she's really in her flow. But eventually we have a position in people care. Yeah, so in our company we call HR people care. Yeah, and she fitted the position perfectly. And now she's doing so well because she's really in her flow. And so the reason like why we kept her, and then it was because she's very, very high on culture. Yeah, so I think this is something that we have done very successfully for our people. And the other thing is also the way that we believe in really grooming people and bringing them up to the next level, not so much like helicoptering someone in unless it's a very specific skill set. So for example, if I need a CFO, then obviously I need to go outside and look for them. Yeah, or I need a CTO or something, right? But when it comes to like more sales and ops, like when they become like team leads or branch managers or country managers, it's very sales and ops based. So we rather promote within. So people who have been with us, when they first started with us, they really start out very junior. But a lot of them have now successfully they are country heads or they are product heads.
Yeah, that's great process. And also, do you personally go more than your company? Do you personally go seek out this competent and extraordinary people?
I would say I'm always like keeping my eyes open. Yeah, so when I see someone that I feel like they really go the extra mile, like I would share with them that, hey, it's like this is what I do. If you are looking for a position, like please do come and join us. I have not successfully done that in terms of recruiting yet, but it's something that I do. Yeah, when I meet new people. Yes.
Okay, this is a fun question.
Yes.
Your strong arguments with Jamie,
Yes.
and you talk a lot about that.
Yes.
I just want to dig in a bit more. It's like, what do you have some of the an argument that you remembered that, maybe you lose, but you lose it like wholeheartedly. And it really like just cement that, like the better idea wins. It's like zero ego.
I cannot remember a very specific issue. Yeah, but we have so many of this, like all the time. Because, like again, back to DISC, both Jamie and I, we are very high D. Yeah, so if you put two very high D people together, it's like, sparks will definitely fly. Yeah, so it's actually quite common. If you ask our associates, like who are in the same meeting as us, it is quite usual that we would have different views, and we will fight very passionately for what we believe in, because obviously, like if I believe in my idea, that's why I'll fight for it, right? And there's the time that where they'll kind of like take a step back and they'll be like, okay, you guys go ahead, right? But at the same time, we're also quite different in the sense our style. Like my leadership style is more consultative, so I'll also like get the rest of them to chip in, even though they are like a bit scared. They're like, okay, like you guys are like already like really going at it, right? But subsequently, like usually, of course, if it's a big decision, we can't make it there and there itself. Like so we're like, okay, like let's just take some time to digest it. And both Jamie and I, we are quite good about it. So he will digest it, I'll digest it, and of course sometimes, when we do go home, we are a bit like, 不爽啦, like oh, like you challenge me, which I think is normal, right?
Yeah.
But it's okay, we'll talk it out, and then eventually we'll just come to somewhere we can meet. Like it could be a combination of both ideas, or it really could be his idea that was a better idea, or my idea which is a better idea. But we really just like, it's fine, like let's just go with what makes sense for the business. Yeah.
I think that both of you are also very objective
we are.
when you fight, so it's easy to come to that
Yes,
common
we
ground
are.
when you have something to level it.
Yes, and I think being in this business is also a very good thing, because it forces us to read a lot about like relationship, about like how to fight properly. It's quite funny. Yeah. So sometimes we will be like fighting, and then suddenly we'll just catch ourselves like in mid-air, and we're like, oh, that's what that book is talking about. Yeah.
So I was reading through Jamie's profile, and I saw this so sick idea.
Yes.
What is that about? Okay,
So
yeah.
Sick is our CRM system. Yeah, so when we first started, like of course, when we first started, you can still be very manual.
Okay, wait, so just for those who do not know, CRM is customer relationship
Yes,
management.
That's right.
Yeah.
So when we first started, obviously, like we don't have that many members, right? So you can very well still be a very manual system, just having files and like boxes, and that's actually what we did for like the first year-ish, right? But subsequently, as the business grew, we are like, okay, this doesn't make sense anymore. We need to have a CRM system. And we did look at some of the systems, like, the off-the-shelf systems. We bought one of them actually, but it just didn't work. Yeah. So that's when we decided to build our own system. And Jamie's background, like he was a IT analyst at the bank. So even though he's not a programmer himself, but he understands enough of IT to be able to liaise with the person we work with to build the system. Yeah.
And this has been still the system that you guys are relying on for.
That's right. I mean, of course, we have made many new improvements and upgrades to it over the years.
And is there a favorite failure that you have that end up being very important for you or planted a seed for later success?
Favorite failure? Let me think. What would be a favorite failure?
Take your time. We can let that thought sit, and then we can come back to it.
Yeah, okay.
How about that? Let's move on that. I think lunch, actually, a lot of people who don't know about it, you guys launched so many different other ventures, include Eateract, eSync, Clickwise, and Lunch Click, and I just wow, oh my god. So can you give me a brief timeline, because I think I'm missing a few here even.
Okay, so we started in 2004 for Lunch actually. So Lunch actually is our personalized service, or we call it the lunch dating service. So what basically works there is that our client will come to our office, have a face-to-face interaction or consultation with our dating consultant. From there, our dating consultant will make a match, we'll arrange the date, we'll book the restaurant. Basically, we do everything. And on their end, they just need to turn up at the restaurant, get to know each other better, and after that, we'll contact them again for to get their feedback. And from there, we do the whole cycle over again. Yep. So that's lunch actually. Subsequently, we started Interact. So Interact is our first foray into online dating because I mean, of course, by then like Match.com, like all of this, like it's really popular, and we are also seeing the trend that everybody is going online, right? So like, how can we also be part of that space? So we started Interact, which we did speed dating online. Yeah, so then speed dating is very popular. So we are like, okay, rather than dress up and go to restaurant and do speed dating, why not do it online? Yeah, so I think we're a bit ahead of our time. So I think right now, in a way, you see all these like 直播, like broadcasting, like Bigo, all these things. Right? It's a bit like that, like but at that point, actually, people are not very open to showing their faces. Yeah, so that didn't work very well. And of course, in terms of monetization, that didn't work well as well. Because what we realized that in Asia, people are not willing to pay just to message each other. Yeah, they want to pay for some sort of result or some sort of outcome. So from our experience with Interact, we started eSing, yeah, which is our hybrid service. So it's half online and half offline. So the client does the work, the user does the first part of the work where they do a very comprehensive quiz, more than 100 questions. And after that, we'll give them their profile, and also we'll give them profiles that matches them based on 16 areas of compatibility. And from there, they can look at the profile and decide whether they want to communicate with the person. Once they communicate with the person through like some Q&As, and they decide that, yes, I want to meet up with this person, our dating consultant will take it offline for them. So that's where our dating consultant will come in and arrange a date for them. So that's easing. And after that, along the way, we realized that why is it so interesting that like for example, group A of our clients, like we send them on a few dates, like maybe 3 dates, 5 dates, they will find someone. And then group B, we can send them on like 3 dates, 5 dates, 10 dates, 15 dates, 20 dates, but they just cannot find someone. So I was wondering to myself, it cannot be like my dating consultants are so biased. It cannot be like they just play favoritism, just want to help group A and not want to help group B,
So
right?
you have a system in place to match people too.
Exactly, yes. So then that's when we realized that the reason for that is actually group A, when they come to us, they are already the right person. So a lot of singles, if you ask them, right, why they are single, chances are they'll say to you, I've not met the right one. But what we have realized that finding the right one is not just about meeting the right one, it's also about being the right one. So firstly, you need to be the right one, and then meet the right one, and you need to choose the right one, which is what is maybe missing for group
I
B.
love that. We're going to dive in a lot into that. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's probably what is missing for Group B, and that's where we decided to launch Lunch Actually Academy. Yeah, so Lunch Actually Academy really comes from the perspective that we are looking to help people be. We wouldn't say that we want to change them because like we believe everybody should be authentic, they should be who they are, but we are just helping them to be a better version of themselves. So by equipping them with the right skill set and the right mindset. So mindset is very, very important because sometimes they might have the skill set, but they don't have the mindset, or like they are just keep choosing the wrong one. So that doesn't help as well. So that's how Lunch Actually Academy comes about. And recently we launched Lunch Click, which is our mobile app. So again, like now in the market, there are so many mobile dating apps out there. But when we launched a mobile app, we didn't want to be another like Tinder clone. Yeah, we wanted to make sure that it makes sense. And our focus have always been on serious daters. So our mobile app is very different from whatever that's out there in the market. And when we first launched, people think we are crazy because we killed chat. So in Lunch Click, people cannot chat with one another. Yeah, and we did that for a few reasons. What we have realized based on our other services is like chatting might not actually help you achieve your objective as quickly, quicker. So for example, you think that chatting would help you to get on a date faster, but we realized that that might not be the case sometimes.
Can I dive in a little bit since we're on that topic?
Yes,
Why,
yes.
why do you think that is so?
Okay, because not everybody can chat very well.
Okay.
Yeah, so for example, like some of the chats we have been noticing, right, it's really very boring. It goes like the guy say hi, the girl say hello, then the guy say, how are you? The girl say fine, and then the guy say, what are you doing? Then the girl say, I'm
Then
working.
you should like pop up. Maybe you should go to Lunch Actually Academy. So we have a comprehensive program that teaches you how to chat better. Here's a PDF. Put in your email.
Yeah, so it's like sort of go downhill from there. And the other thing what we have realized about chat is like it becomes like mini dates. So you are being assessed like every time. Like compared to dating a long time ago, which is like when I was dating like 17 years ago, right? It's a lot about talking over the phone. It's a lot about really like, but people don't talk over the phone anymore. It's all about like WhatsApping. And like from the point like you sort of swipe right for the other person, right? And from to the time when you finally maybe meet, there's quite a lot of WhatsApping happening. And at any of this point, the person could just bail out.
Yeah, I love, what I love about you is that you take on a very sort of engineering approach to dating, and you're right, because every time you send a message,
Yes.
if you do it wrongly,
Yes,
or you
yes.
step on the toe of the other
Yes,
person,
yes. And you might not even know it.
exactly.
Yeah.
But with at least a phone call, you have like that 1 minute or 2 minutes
Yes.
to sort of maybe save yourself from the
Yes,
situation.
exactly.
And even better, if you're on a lunch, you have
Yes.
that 1 hour. At
Exactly.
least, well, then you can make
Yes.
some save.
Yeah. So our focus is more on that, because we feel that if you are just looking at a photo or you're just chatting, it's very one-dimensional. Like even with chats, right? Like just one sentence, like I say, whatever the sentence be, whatever I say and how you interpret it could be totally different. Like I remember like there was some course I went to, and then they flash out this sentence, and just by putting a different intonation each time on a different word, that sentence could mean totally different things. Yeah. So if you think about that, like there could be a lot of misunderstanding and miscommunication that could happen over chat. Yeah. So that's why we like thought, okay, we'll just kill chat, which people think that we are crazy, but we were confident about it because that's what we have been doing in all our other services. Because for lunch, actually, people don't chat. In eSync, people don't chat. Our focus is really bringing them offline as soon as possible. And we feel that, when you meet offline, it's very multidimensional, right? Because like when you first look at a photo, you might think that this person looks like that, and you might just swipe left because of the photo. But if you meet the person in person, right? Because of the other things, yeah, the other attributes, like the charm, the conversation, or whatever, right? And also some people, they look really good on photos, which is me. I'm very photogenic. Yeah. But when you meet me in person, you're like, you look a bit different. Which is, things like that happen. Or some people, they're not photogenic. They don't look good in photos, but they look really nice in person. So we are trying to eliminate all of this. But of course, our focus is on serious relationships. So people who are willing to go through this with us, like they are serious. And that's why they are willing to take it a bit slow. So our app is very interesting in the sense that everybody is sort of making things very fast. We are actually slowing things down a bit.
Now we know. Wow. Wow, there's so many things we can dive into. Okay, I want to underscore. How big is eSync right now?
In what sense?
The team.
The team. I need to count.
I mean, just a rough number.
About 20.
And why? And you guys sort of revamped the website, move on to the different. Is there a reason behind that, or?
I think for a digital product, right, you need to constantly revamp and improve. Yeah, definitely, because like people's idea on how UI changes, UX changes, like together with all the other big boys, right? So we need to constantly make sure that we are relevant. Yeah.
Okay. Abundance versus scarcity.
Yes.
You talked a little bit about that in some of your previous interview. When did you take up that stand? I'm interested. What incident made you take up that stance, or where did you learn it from? I mean, it's a concept that's all over, but I don't think it's something that our mom would teach to us.
When did I actually take up this stance? I can't think of I can't think of like a incident, so to say. But I think maybe it comes from my background of being just very I've always been very interested in helping people. I've always been very interested in community service work. So even like when I was growing up, I joined the Interact Club in school, and I was the community service director. And then subsequently, I I visited this old lady when I was studying in A levels, like to help her. But that was and that was very funny, because I always feel that she ended up helping me more like I'm helping her because she's just so sweet and she can do everything by herself. But okay, anyway, that's another story.
Yeah.
And then coming out to work when I was at City, I was also the community service director for the community service chair for the staff recreation club. Yeah,
okay.
and I organized so many events
Wow.
for the city bankers, and it was quite funny. It come to a point like the president kind of like take me aside, and he's like, Violet, I think you're making the rest of us look very bad. Can you slow down? Because I was doing it not so much like I wanted to stand out or whatever, but it was just something that I was really interested in, and I feel that having such a big backing like the bank, right, and like we have so many city bankers, that's just so much we can do. So I think it sort of comes from there. Like if I can help, like I would want to help. So I guess, back to the abundance and scarcity. So I believe in really like working with so-called competitors, because the market is huge. Like you can't do everything by yourself. Like I don't think like it's possible to own 100% of the market. But like if we can work together with our competitors to grow that market, and as a result then we all own a bigger slice of the pie, why not? And I think life is long as well. Like you never really know how you eventually might end up working with each other, like in other things, or maybe even being related to each other in other things. So sometimes I feel a bit funny, like people are just so close. Because I remember when we first started the association for dating agencies and matchmakers in Singapore, it took us a while to get started, because when we approached like some of the other agencies, they were just like, no, we are not interested, because I think they are just feeling that, okay, why do I want to share with you, or like what if you learn my secrets and things like that. But we are glad that eventually we did find some agencies who are open to this idea.
I mean, I can see it that there's also definitely some conflicts of interest there. And how do you deal with it? So just you just how do you deal with them, reacting that way?
I I think it's really just finding the right people. It's like I think there will always be people who are like more like they just shut themselves out. Yeah, but there are people who are open, and I think it's also about being quite clear about your intentions as well. Because I mean, of course, face it, we are competitors, right? But I think just drawing a very clear idea of what we're trying to achieve. Like, because for example, like one of the things we talk about is that we say, oh, maybe we should have a blacklist. Because there are some users, right? Like, since the person is so terrible, like, why do you want this person to go to someone else and like make their life very miserable as well? For example, right? You know what I'm saying? So things like that, like to really think of things that is win-win for everybody. Yeah, we cannot force people to divulge like of course their company secrets and things like that. And I mean, of course, for ourselves, we also won't divulge our trade secrets. But there are certain things that by working together or by sharing, we can bring the industry to the next level. I mean, which is a good thing for everybody.
Yeah. So I think we're gonna do a side step to acquisition, because I think among some companies, many haven't done or approached that before. How did you got the idea in the first place?
Again, it's like not something we decided on. Like it wasn't something like when we first started, we're like, okay, we're going to acquire other businesses. So it was something like along the way. Let me think, what's the first business we actually acquired?
Dating loft.
Yes, Dating Loft. Okay, so that was a funny story, because they were looking to exit the industry, because we actually know them for quite a while because of the association, and we have worked together here and there for different events. So I think the founders, one moved overseas, to start another business with her fiance, and another one, she started her family, and then she really want to focus on that. So they wanted to exit the business. They actually didn't approach us. Yeah, because they didn't think that we would be interested, because we already have an existing offline
You
business.
don't know too.
Yeah, and we didn't know. But I think it was somehow like I think it just came out. I can't remember like how we knew about it, or how they knew that we could potentially be interested. And yeah, and that's how we got started. Like it was something that they are comfortable with, because they know us for a while, and they know that we would treat their existing clients right. And we also have known them for a while, so we know that they have been running the business properly. Because I think the scary part is that you don't want to end up like with a can of worms, right? Yeah.
Yeah, so there's the Dating Loft. Wait, Dating Loft is it Singapore based, or is it
Singapore-based.
Singapore-based company? Yes. And then there's also Courage Dream.
Yes, Courage Dream.
Which become then the Lunch Actually Academy.
Yes, that's right.
What are some of the other businesses? Because there's three more.
So then about 1 year plus ago, we acquired Meet and Lunch, which is the largest dating agency in Thailand. So the founder, Nikki, we have known her for many years. So when we first launched Matchmaking Institute Southeast Asia, she was one of our first students. And that was how, like we got to know her better, and we have kept that relationship going. And about like 1 year plus 2 years ago, she thought that she wanted to be part of a bigger group. Yeah, and we started talking, and yeah, so we acquired the business and we integrated it. So of course, there were some worries like how are we going to integrate it, because I don't speak Thai.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. and also it's like maybe like her team at that point was also like 15-20 people, which is will make up quite a big part of our team, right? So I think a lot of times like M&As fail is really because of integration. Yeah, so we were very concerned to make sure, because when we did Dating Loft, it's very small. Like it's like maybe like less than 5 people. Yeah, so we put a lot of effort into thinking how are we going to integrate the culture, the systems, and then it worked out really well. And I think again, getting the right partner is very important, because again we have known her for a very long time, so she knows how we do things, we know how she does things as well.
And for her, is she still in?
Yeah, she's still in.
Still running
Yes, so she's still running the Thailand company, and what we have done is that we have launched the services that she didn't initially have. So she had the service which is similar to lunch actually, and then so we brought in eSing, and then we brought in the academy.
All right.
Yes.
Fantastic. And what are, I mean, just so people could start thinking about this a bit more, what are some of the common evaluation models that people use to evaluate business?
So for us, like a few things, definitely the brand is something, because dating business is really about the reputation. If like it's a well-known brand in the market, then obviously it's worth more. The database it's important, but at the same time it also depends, because the churn is quite high in the dating industry. Yeah, because like they sign up like 2 years ago doesn't mean they're still single right now. Yeah, and the team, like the revenues. So different things that we acquire, we look at it differently, because whether it's a revenue generating business or is it about the user base.
Right, you also see how much is that of value to your company.
Yes.
I think one of the more interesting models when one of my friends selling away his business was how he negotiated, was just saying that, hey, this is a system that works, this is a business that works, and this is how much revenue monthly or yearly it generates, and this is profit. But then if I plug this system into your business, which you're a bigger conglomerate, and that would mean like X, however X amount, like times that, right? Because you can multiply it through all the different cities. And I was like, wow, that's a very fascinating way of just pitching and selling business.
Yes, for sure.
We're gonna, I think, let's dive a little bit into dating. It's like the topic that you're expert about. Maybe start off with your book. Chapter 8. Why beautiful and successful women finish last in dating. Tell me.
Wow, okay, so there's something called the education squeeze, right? So I mean, like compared to like maybe our mom or our grandma era, where maybe ladies, they are not as educated as they are right now, they are not as financially independent as we are right now. So then getting married was one of the key reasons is for financial. Yeah, but I think right now it's no longer the case. Like modern women, we earn our own money. Sometimes we earn even more. Yeah. However, like if you put 100 men and 100 women together, and then you say that all of you have to pair off at the end of it, like I don't care how you do it, right? What you end up with, it's like you end up with the top 20% women and the bottom 20% men left.
Okay.
Yeah, the reason for that is because men tend to marry down and women tend to marry up. So because you have these two groups of people left, the problem is they do not match each other.
So the top 20% of women doesn't match the bottom.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, which is a big problem.
Yes,
and
yes.
it's a problem that we see not just in Singapore, but actually all around the world, especially in like advanced cities. So okay, back to your question about successful women. So successful women would probably be in the top 20% women. Yeah. The thing is, a lot of these clients, when they come to us, I will tell them that there's nothing wrong with you. It's not that you know, because I mean, honestly, I am quite honest with them, because when we first started out, you know, similar to my experience in managing people, right? You know, we have to make all these mistakes. When I first started out, I'm like very PC. Like the answers I give is like, you know, very PC, you know, very like safe, like whatever people want to hear. But I subsequently realized that that doesn't work, and and I'm kind of doing people a disservice by doing that. Yeah, and I have to actually summon a lot of courage to then like, okay, you know, I have to start telling people what I've learned after being in this industry, and that's also, you know, part of the reason why I wrote the book as well.
So you don't need to actually say it, but like, hey, you know, I wrote a book. I'll give you as a gift.
Yeah. So okay, so back to the very you know, beautiful. I'm not beautiful. That one we'll talk about successful first, then the beautiful.
Yeah.
So the successful woman. So I give you a story, you know, like where I met this lady. So I met up with her was because she was very upset with us. Okay, she's very upset with us is because she said that we are not matching her right, and we are not giving her the right type of guys, right? So she's very upset, and then she was complaining, and that's why I met up with her. And after I met up with her for a while, and then, you know, maybe like 15-20 minutes in the conversation, she said like, okay, Violet, let's not waste time. Okay, just give me the top 5% of your database.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'm like, okay, that's interesting, you know. So why she say that I should only give her top 5% of my database, you know, the guy database, is because she perceives herself as the top 5% of the women database. So it's like, so she tell me, she say, okay, Violet, you see, I have a very good degree, I have a very good master's, I come from Ivy League universities, you know, I've done very well in my career, you know, like I can't remember, she was either investment banker or management consultant, basically like, you know, big names, and then now, you know, I'm doing really well in life, you know, like I'm very active in like philanthropy work and things like that, right? Which, why she feel that that's top 5%? Because that's what she's looking out for in a guy. So if a guy have all of these qualities that she have just mentioned, they would be in the top 5%, right? But when guys are evaluating their future partner, like they don't look at this. So the qualities that I've just told you is a bonus. It's like, yeah. So it's like, for the men, it's a totally different criteria when they say the top 5%.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's a total mismatch.
What's the guy's version of that? So girls is like a good school, however much he's making, what good career, and doing a lot of philanthropy work. What is the guy's version of it?
The guy's version, I say this a lot, you know, like I say, fortunately or unfortunately, men are very visual.
Okay.
Yeah, so like the first thing they come to us is like, some are very direct about it. They'll just say, okay, I want to meet someone who's pretty. Or some are not so direct about it, but more or less they mean the same thing. Yeah, they will be like, oh, I'm looking for someone who's pleasant looking. And they say, what do you mean by pleasant looking, right?
So it's like not Jessica Alba, you know?
So it's like looks are very important for sure. You know, like and of course then you know, looks, and then whether she's slim, you know, like or at least, you know, not overweight, or like maybe age, you know, comes to play as well. I mean, of course, they are also looking for people who's like kind-hearted, compassionate, like you know, very filial. Of course all of these things. Everybody's looking for that, right? For sure. Yeah.
We're just looking for the top.
So obviously you can see that it's a complete mismatch.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, so that's why she's very upset, because obviously like the things that she feels that is very in her favor, like might not be what men are looking for.
Oh, it's actually not. Exactly not.
Yeah, so yeah, back to this story. So that's why then I explained to her, like I say, you know, like it's not that you're not good, you know, like you are very good, but it's just that, right, the men that you're looking for, which is the top 5%, like every other woman out there, they are also looking for them, right? Because women marry up and men marry down, right? So that means that guy that you're looking for, he has so many options. Yeah, and his option just might not be you. It's not that you're not good.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, more than that also, then the next question is like, are you in that thing that they are looking for? Right? Well, which maybe is.
Which maybe is, right? Yeah. So for example, like, because though their top criteria is like what we have just talked about, and then if they also come from an Ivy League school, they're also doing very well in their career, they're also very into community service work. Those are bonus.
Yeah. Cherry on top of the cake.
Yes. Yeah. So yeah, that's the successful
So-
woman a challenge.
How then? Oh, we can finish that thought first.
So that's why it's like they are looking for someone who is on the same level or higher. And because they feel that I'm not going to settle for less, because they feel that I don't need someone to provide for me financially. I can very well look after myself. So if I can very well look after myself, I'm already like at this level of lifestyle. Like, why do I want to marry someone who is not at that level and maybe I need to downgrade on my lifestyle? Which, if you think about it, is very logical. You know, I don't think like they are not gold diggers because they themselves, they are doing very well. But the problem is just like what I've just said. Like the people that they are looking out for, those people just have a lot of choices.
And how do you how do you tell this to them?
I just tell it to them like how I've just told you.
Okay.
Yeah, because I just feel that like previously I kind of beat around the bush, right?
Right,
Like
right.
It doesn't work. Yeah.
Do you train your guys to tell?
I mean, I train them, and of course, like we always say that we need to ask our clients first, like, are they open to feedback?
Oh,
Yeah, because
it's a good primer
yeah,
for them
yeah.
that conversation.
Yeah, because I shouldn't like just go into someone's face and say, hey, you know what's your problem,
Yeah.
right? I cannot say that. But of course, if things have not been working out and they say, okay, I want to ask for some advice, and I will say, are you open to some feedback? So back to this lady. So one of the things I've observed, because obviously, to be fair again to these successful women, right? It's like they have been conditioned to behave the way that they are behaving. Because if you think about it, like to succeed in a career or boardroom, right? You can't be a wallflower. You can't be like just okay, whatever, like you decide.
Can make quick decisions.
Yeah, you need to like be out there. You need to be assertive. You need to be aggressive. You need to really to make things happen, right? So this is the challenge, because it's like if you bring that persona into a date, it can be a bit off-putting. So we have had like feedback from guys, and they are like Violet, like I'm looking to go on a date, not a debate.
Okay, how then this woman should be thinking about it, or how did that friend, like, is she okay now? Have she adjusted?
No. So she didn't accept it.
She didn't accept it. Oh no.
So I share with her. I say that okay, like I mean, if you're open, I share some feedback with you. Then she say okay, and then I say I say generally you come across as very masculine. Yeah. So when you go on dates, you bring this very masculine energy, very masculine persona. And then she told me no. So she said it's not true. She said like it's because I'm very angry with you right now. That's why I behave this way. I'm like, okay. Because we get feedback from clients as well. Yeah, because after each date we get feedback from both sides. So that's the challenge. But like I say, it's not their fault, because they are conditioned to behave this way to get far in their career. But it's just they need to realize that they cannot behave the same way when they're on dates. And then sometimes they'll argue with me. They'll be like, why should I date men who are intimidated by me?
I don't know.
Then my answer is very simple. It's like you see, the problem is, right, women in general, like they want to find someone that they can sort of like play the 小女人 role. Yeah, which is like I find someone like I feel you're worthy for me to like sort of be very vulnerable, and then I sort of like, wow, I can really just put down all defenses and really play that role, right? So the challenge, right, is that you need to play that role first before you attract that guy. Right? So it's like they are so alpha, but they want an alpha man.
But same goes with the guy as well. The guy got to play alpha in order later on to be softer.
Yes. So that's the challenge. So it's like they want an alpha man. It's very clear. They want an alpha man. But the alpha men are not attracted to alpha women, because you can't have two alphas like together, right? So even though like, for example, I have this girlfriend, like she is now in her 60s. I really admire her because she's so successful in her career. But when she's back home, she tells me that she'll take out the slippers for her husband. She'll like, put out the water for the husband to bathe.
Wow.
So she's alpha in her workplace. Like, all the people that she managed, they know, like, wow, this is the boss, she's alpha. But when she's back home, she doesn't need to be alpha.
And I also believe that, so a long time ago, a concept that I was being introduced to is called be water, which is from Bruce Lee. But how I interpreted it was that you can go to your, so I was in the army, right?
Yeah.
And then I was like, and I used to be a tour guide in Singapore Dark
Yes.
Tours, so that's how my English become what it is.
Yes.
And in the army, people despise you because you speak good English. And so there's this very like a challenge of like, wow, so who am I, you know? And then this concept came about, is that you actually can be, whenever you meet someone different, you bring out a different side of who you are.
For sure.
So then actually, or you can, the outside form can change, but the inside still stays the same. So you can, having that in mind, that means, right, if I were to go to a taxi uncle, I can talk to him in like, hey Jake, what's up? And then I could go to a boardroom meeting, and there's a very different a way of engaging and bring out that different personality for the different situation. So that concept really like helped me a lot in that area.
Yes, for sure.
But it's not about me, it's about you, this interview.
Yeah, so that's the challenge, because inside they want to be beta, but outside they are alpha. So then as a result, you won't attract the alpha, you end up attracting the beta, and then that just doesn't work. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Last at first sight, you famously said.
I'm very impressed. Like, you really have done so much research. It's so amazing.
Thank you. No, I mean that's why. I try to see things that, I try to spot, I guess, conception or conventional wisdom, and try to know. I found that you have so much of that wisdom, and I want to share. I want you to share that with the rest. Yeah. So why is it not love at first sight?
Okay, because to me, right, love is like, it's not like the initial rush, it's not the passion. Like, I feel love is not a feeling. For me, love is commitment. Because, I mean, like, I've known my husband for 17 years. We have been married for 12 years. Like, this year is our 12th year. And honestly, right, definitely there are times where I'm very unlovable or he's very unlovable. So if we see love as a feeling, then it's very easy for us to just say, just forget it. Like, let's just walk out of this marriage and just find someone who can make us happier. Yeah. But when love is a commitment, it really means that you will stick through with it, like, whatever happens. I mean, of course, like, maybe barring like physical violence or whatever, right? Yeah. But other things, like, life is not easy. There's ups and downs, and there will be a lot of difficult conversations, difficult things that happen. But it's really about making that work and putting the marriage as the most important thing. So that's why I feel that it's really a commitment. And for me, when I think about love, I think about old love. Yeah, it's really like, after like witnessing each other's life for like 20, 30, 40, 50 years, and then still being so loving to each other, like, still the holding hands, like the connection. So to me, that's love. So with such a definition of love, I cannot see how can that be at first sight. Because if first sight, you hardly know each other. Yeah, it's just like you saw this person, and this person probably triggers something, like this person has certain attraction markers that trigger something in your brain, and you don't even know what it is. And then you think it's love at first sight, but that's why I call it lust at first sight.
And just to add on to that topic a little bit, are there any more of those, I'll call it, unproductive or misaligned narrative that you have noticed in your circle?
Like how you should kind of, the right one will just come along. Yeah. Or like, we should leave it to fate. Or there was a nicer word that came up a couple of years ago, serendipity. So I always say to people, I say, yes, of course, like this has happened. I've heard many such stories, of like how they meet on the plane, like the lady was traveling alone, like she was trying to put up the luggage, and then the guy saw that she couldn't put up the luggage. The guy like helped her, and then they exchanged numbers, and subsequently, like they got married. Things like that do happen, okay. But I think it's important to realize that there's an exception, not the norm. Yeah, and it's like you need to really take that proactive step to widen your social circle for it to happen. Because in the past, like when we were less busy, like life is not so stressful, it's a lot about being introduced by friends. So a lot of our parents, chances are if you ask them, how did you meet your partner? They'll say that, oh, like my friend introduced us, or like my colleague introduced us, things like that, right? But the problem now is because people are getting married later and later in life. So your well-meaning friends who want to introduce you to friends, eventually they get caught up with their own lives. They start their own family, and their friends who are single become fewer and fewer as well. So they also don't have many people to introduce to you. Yeah, and you think about it, like dating is really a numbers game. I mean, it doesn't sound very romantic, I know. Yeah, but if you just
No,
think,
I really like that you say it as it is.
yeah.
I love it.
But if you think about it, it's like out of 10 people you meet, of the opposite gender, like where you like the person, like you have good feelings about this person, and this person also have good feelings about you, with the potential of it developing into something romantic, like maybe out of 10, like maybe 5. And honestly, 5 is a very optimistic number, but let's just say it's 5, okay? And out of that 5, maybe you go on a first date with 4, and out of those 4 first dates, you go on second or third dates with 2 or 3, and hopefully from there you find the one. And honestly, this is very optimistic numbers we're talking about, right? But let's just say it's true. The problem right now is a lot of people, they don't meet 10 people of the opposite gender in a month or in a year. I mean, maybe they meet for other things, but not from a point of dating the person. I mean, you meet them for business, it's not counted.
Yeah.
So that's the big problem. And some of these people, they have the idea like, oh, no, I don't want to put myself out there. I don't want to feel it's very desperate. Like if it happens, it happens. So my question to people is that, like, wouldn't you say that being in a happy marriage, or a relationship would be something that is important to you in life? If you ask people that, most of the time they will say yes. But why do you spend so much more time on finding a job than actually finding this? Yeah, and when it comes to finding job, people can be very proactive, They make sure their CV is good, They talk
Update.
update, go on LinkedIn, make sure they get, headhunters. Yeah, and they plan, they'll plan that, okay, in 1 year time, I want to be this, 2 years time this, 5 years, maybe I change job. They have long-term planning, right? So my same question is like, if this is so important to you, why don't you plan it? Yeah.
2 things I want to underscore on top of what you
Yes.
just said is one thing we call the selection bias, which is a localized example would be like, you go that tree, wow, we're strike 4D. Wow, my friend, wow, he strike 4D, man, last week.
Yeah.
So then you go, and then the truth is, no one will talk about the people who didn't strike 4D.
Yes.
But the person who strike 4D, oh my god, this is the best tree ever, we need to do some stuff and bring some roast pig and So in that sense, what you say with serendipity.
Yes.
And also just to even go on with the age thing, is that there's this huge gap when you got out of university, you get thrown into your work. Firstly, they tell you all the time you shouldn't date your work, which is a pretty good rule to live by. And so if you're single and out of the university, to your 30s, there's this big gap, because your friend will probably think that, she's okay, she'll take care of herself. But then only up to you're 30, and by the time you're 30, you're starting your dating game, and you're just such, especially women, right? They have in a rush to, you get married soon, 35 is the age, and then they never practice dating, and if you don't practice, you never know what you would like, right?
Yeah, it's a very, very big problem. And the other thing is, like, some of them see it in a very interesting manner, which I've never thought about until I speak to some of these younger ladies. So they are also very practical. So the way they see it is this. They are like, okay, Violet, just look at it this way. I have 10 years of my life. I can either invest it in my career, or I can either invest it in my relationship. So if I invest 10 years in my career, like, there should be certain outcomes. But if I invest 10 years in a relationship, like, who knows? Like, I might be with this guy for 10 years, and then we just break up, and then I'll be left with nothing. So that's how they sort of measure it. But then my question to them would then be, but like when you're 60 or 70, your career is not there to hug you or be with you. But it's very interesting that they see it this way. Like, I've never seen it this way. But I think, like, now, because people feel that there seems to be this tension, like it's either or. And that's what I would like to challenge, because it's never either or. Like, abundance, right? Abundance versus scarcity. It's always like why the like tyranny of like, oh, why not both, right? So for me, I decided, like, when I was growing up, like I wanted to get married by the time I was 26.
Oh wow, that's just young, right?
Yeah, so I'm not sure like why I had that, but I think like because I grew up like my parents, like they have a really like loving marriage. I mean, at least like when I was growing up, they always show me this. I mean, they do have a loving marriage, but I think why I say that is because they made it a point to like never like have like crazy quarrels in front of me. Like they told me later, like when they do, they'll just do it somewhere else. Yeah. So I have this idea that, oh, marriage is a good thing. Yeah. And I wanted to get married. I want to start a family. So I thought I set myself a timeline. I see 26. Yeah. And I was very proud that I beat my timeline. so, so I graduated at 2020. I did my master's, 21. I quit. I started my job at 22. I quit my job at 24 to start the business. I got married when I was 25. And then our first child came along when I was 26. Oh. And our second child came along when I was 29. Oh, wow. Yeah. So I feel that, like you see, right? Like 6 to 8 years of my life, like so many things changed and so many things were happening at the same time. And it can happen. Like, while I was like getting married, I was starting a family, and at the same time we were building a business as well. So I feel it doesn't need to be mutually exclusive. And I think I also have I'm very fortunate in the sense that I have very good mentors. So like, the lady that I shared with you just now, the one who is like alpha at work and beta at home, right? So for her, in her 20s, she wasn't working. She was actually at home, like looking after her daughter. And then like after that, her daughter was a bit older. Then she came back out to work, and still, she managed to scale up her career to the next level. So that was where I realized that some things can wait, but some things can't. Yeah, so that's what I'm also trying to share with like younger ladies out there, that you don't need to choose. You can build it simultaneously, or for some reason, if you can't, maybe it makes sense to focus on your love life and dating and relationship first, which it's a bit against like what it's currently happening. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'll just leave it as that. Although I fully agree with you, and there's so much thing I can add into it, but I will just leave it. I think you did a good point explaining. Yeah. So this is why I saw from an article that's written for you. Yeah. If you ask your friends why they are single, they usually say they have not met the right one. Yes. But what they don't realize is that it starts from oneself. Yeah. So, what can we get started
on? There are so many different things. Let's start with mindset. Yeah. So like a lot of the ladies that I've met, like why they have not found the right one is because they have the mindset that there are no more good men in this world. So you talk to them, they're like, there are no more good men in this world. All the good men, they're either married, dead, or gay. So with this kind of mindset, it doesn't matter how many men I put in front of them, they will not choose this guy. Because, like subconsciously, they already think that this man cannot be good. Yeah. And why they have this mindset, chances are they have had some very bad relationship in the past. Like, so it's the relationship history, or maybe it's based on whatever they hear from friends or whatever. But if they cannot get rid of this mindset, it's very difficult for them to move forward.
Right. No, I totally understand why they have that mindset, but I think maybe even noticing it wouldn't help them. And again, this is not about me, but I'd just like to share this, is that start by building a list of, I think what you said too, of like the 3 no-nos and the 3 hell yes. Yes. And then to see whether it is true or not, pit that list against reality. Yeah. And I think most people don't even start there. It's like, you don't have a goalpost, how you're going to score the goal. Yes, exactly. And so I think by doing that, it probably will be a better way to test that assumption, right? Yes.
And I think the other part of it is the skill set. So, like there are people, like they are really very, very nice people, and like they definitely would make very good partners, but they are not presenting themselves maybe in the best light. And it matters. I mean, like it or not. Like just like, you go for a job interview, like it matters. Like when you go on a first date, it matters as well. And I think sometimes, like some people have the mindset that people should just take me as I am.
Okay, well, I'm gonna butcher this interview. Well, because I spent a hard time thinking about this, and so the one that got me was that it's not about being yourself; it's about being the best version of yourself.
Yes, definitely. Yeah. So I mean, honestly, to be very, very honest about it, right? Do you think I look like that every single day? I mean, some people do, but I don't. Yeah, I'm actually a person that I like enjoy like just very casual, like on days that I'm not at work, I actually do not put on makeup. Yeah, but then I mean, what sort of impression am I giving if, like, let's say I appear on this interview this way, or like I go and give a talk, like, so that's why I explain to our clients as well. I mean, of course, it's like there are times that you just want to be in like t-shirt and shorts and slippers, right? Like which I do, but again, like it just doesn't work. Like you cannot show up on a date in t-shirt, shorts, and slippers, which we have had people who do that.
Is it more the female side or the
male,
side?
luckily
Okay,
male.
okay.
And the reason for that is really like they're like, yeah, I feel comfortable this way, and they should just take me as I am, and like like when we get married later, I'll be like that. But we say that's fine, like that's after you already got married. Like but right now it's like, so we talk to them about what we call the emotional bank account, because if people do not know you, like we are conditioned to look out for certain things, right? So it's like when people do not know you, like first impressions are formed certain ways. So for example, like some people will say that, oh, someone who doesn't polish their shoes, like that means they are blah blah blah, for example. But that might not be true. But like it or not, that's what people would think. Yeah. Or like, some people who don't comb their hair or whatever, like you just think like, oh, this person is very messy, or this person is like very ill-disciplined, which all again can be untrue. But it's just like first impressions are just formed in that instance, and that's it. Yeah. So it's again working with some of these people's mindset. So for example, it's amazing. Like I have this lady who she wore her uniform to go on a date. Then I'm like, why did you do that? And then yeah, and she's like, oh, because I just finished work. Yeah, or like this other guy like went like in a football jersey and whatever. Then I'm like, why do you do that? Because I just finished playing soccer. So it's like in their mind, it's very acceptable. But then I will ask them, but would you wear that to a job interview?
What are three most important questions that one should ask themselves before starting to date? Or are there?
I think really knowing like what is the objective of what they are, because like even when with our clients, we do ask them like, are you looking to widen your social circle? Are you looking to be in a serious relationship in view of settling down? Like in the medium to short to medium future. Yeah. So I think those are some of the things that you should be asking yourself about, right? Because I mean, dating now, it's like people date for a variety of reasons. Yeah, and of course, if your answer is more closely related to like settling down in the near future, then the list that you should be writing down in terms of criteria might be different from, like, let's say you are just dating for fun. Yeah, and I think that is the challenge, because sometimes like people do not see that. Like, okay, one of the examples is that when you ask a lady like what height do they want, it's 1.75 and above, maybe now even taller. And then I would say that, do you know the average height of Asian men is 1.71? Yeah. So then you ask them, why do you want a guy who's 1.75? I mean, if like for example you are 1.7, or 1.68, I can understand, because like then the guy is still taller than you, right? But if you're 1.55, why do you need a guy who's 1.75? Yeah, so that's what I mean. It's like a lot of times like people do not question why they ask for something. Yeah, and that's one thing. The other thing is like whatever this that they ask for have no correlation whatsoever to their lifelong happiness. Because for example, like someone who's 1.75, a guy who's 1.75 and above, it doesn't mean that he'll be a good father or a good husband. Then why is that criteria important to you? I mean, I always say that some things are bonus, It's like, wow, like he's tick all the boxes, and he's also like gorgeous, dark, handsome, tall. I mean, that's fantastic lah. But again, those people, they have so many choices. So it's not that you're not good. I always say that. I say, okay, please understand, it's not that you're not good enough, but it's just that they have a lot of choices.
Yeah.
Yeah, so same thing for the guy. You know, like of course everybody comes in, they want to like, okay, what's the hottest movie star we have now?
Jennifer Lawrence.
Yeah. Like maybe, you know, Jennifer Lawrence, or what about the Chinese one? Who is the
Chinese. Don't watch.
don't watch Chinese. Okay. Yeah, you know, so it's like our answer to them is usually like, we are a dating service. We are not a modeling agency.
Gotcha.
So again, you know, like just like the general population, you know, we have like people who come to us like, you know, the very gorgeous 20%, the like maybe not so gorgeous 20%, and the normal like everybody else, right? Yeah. So that's why again we have to share with them. It's like, okay, you are looking for that, we understand, but at the same time, like ultimately, you know, does it matter? Because but this is a very hard sell. I've never succeeded. And I remember having this conversation with our Prime Minister, and he said that, it's like, he said, yeah, this is biological. Even I'm the Prime Minister, I don't think I can change their mind. Because many years ago, like...
If I were to approach the business, I would be like, close first, and then tell them about this after they go on their date, right?
But if you promise them the sky, and then you under-deliver, it's also a problem.
Hey, but...
So it's like, for example, you know, close first. So I said, yeah, you want Jennifer Lawrence, no problem. You want Jessica Alba, also no problem.
I'm not here for Jessica Alba. I'm here to guarantee your happiness in your long-term relationship. How about that?
Yeah. Of course, you know, like we say we are very, how do I say? I always tell my people, I say for us, right, integrity is number one. Yeah. We definitely do not want to oversell and underdeliver. So what we share with our clients is we don't say that we can 100% find you a girlfriend or boyfriend, because I can't guarantee that, because there's so many factors that come into play. Yeah, but what I can guarantee is that the people that you meet, it's like, you know, like fulfill like 60-70% of what you're looking for, and more importantly, you also fulfill 60-70% of what they are looking for, because we don't want to waste your time, right? Because like if you find someone that you like, but the person might not like you, so it's wasting your time. But at least, you know, like you fulfill what they're looking for, they fulfill what you're looking for, and then when you meet, then whether you have chemistry or not, then that's where it takes off.
Okay. So chemistry.
Yes.
I know you guys collected a lot of data from a lot of the dates that you have been, right? And then I think you shared a little bit about just people are being ready. Are they ready to date?
Yeah.
So tell us some of the actual data and interesting data that you have collected based along the side of chemistry.
So I think, you know, like we talk about love at first sight, right? So a lot of times people have this feeling that, okay, if I meet this person and then I don't feel that sparks or like that electricity, whatever, right, then I shouldn't consider a person. Yeah. But what we have realized is that a lot of our success couples, like, they did not had love at first sight. So most of the time it was more like they went on a date, and then like maybe on a scale of 1 to 10, they rate it like 6 or 7. And then what subsequently happened is they continued to meet up. They meet again and again and again, and eventually they became a couple, and then eventually they got married. So what we realized is that sometimes it's a bit overrated, like that whole like, oh, you know, we must have chemistry. So like, for example, like when we ask, you know, we call them, so how did it go, you know, like then like, would you meet this person again? And then they will say no, and then we say why. Usually the answer would be like, oh, no chemistry. Yeah, so it's again not easy. Like we would encourage them like, okay, our yardstick is not so much like how much you like the person, but it's more like, did you not like the person? Yeah, because it's like, for us, when we do doing the matching, because we know both of you guys, you know, it's a bit like, you know, your friends know you guys, like, that's how, you know, because we have met both parties, we have done the, you know, like the consultation. So there must be something that we have seen, but maybe you have not seen on the first date. Like, but don't waste it, you know, like why not go on a second date to see? Because sometimes like some people, they have first date jitters, you know, like they are just a bit like, they don't present like whatever they could have, you know, so go on another date and maybe do something different and see how it goes. I mean, of course, after a second date and it's like, oh, okay, still not really there, okay, fine. Yeah, and this is also something very interesting, because Malaysians, out of like Singaporeans, Malaysians and Hong Kongers, they are the most open to going out on second dates. Yeah, so Hong Kongers are the ones that They are very quick. They are like, don't waste time.
What is the percentage difference?
I can't.
Okay,
I don't
okay,
have those
don't worry,
numbers.
yeah.
But definitely, it's like Hong Kongers, like, or even Singaporeans. They are like, I don't want to waste my time. I don't want to waste his or her time. We already met one time. It doesn't work out. Okay, let's just move on. Yeah, but then we will explain to them, because what we have seen is really, it's not that first meeting, but it's really the second, the third. Yeah. And again, it's like chemistry sometimes, like again, it's like what you're looking out for, right?
Yeah.
Because attraction markers, like for example, like some people would say that I want girls with long hair. And they don't even know why they want girls with long hair. And all these are actually scientific, because, you know, like if people have long, luscious hair, it actually signifies like fertility. Like, but if you talk to most guys, they don't know. They just say, I like girls with long hair. Then you're like, what if you like girls with curly, short hair? They also don't know. But again, it has to do with fertility, which now it doesn't work that way anymore, because we intentionally cut our hair short and we curl it, right? Yeah. But in the past, you know, it's all these markers. So again, like just now we talk about guys must be tall, you know, like and things like that. Again, it goes back to like, oh, you know, why do you want a guy who's tall? Because then he can protect you and things like that. Then I often say that, you know, what is there to be protected from now? You know,
Yeah.
Like there's no lion running after you or whatever, right?
Are there some common themes of those who have succeeded in their dating?
I would say the common theme is that they know what they're looking out for. Yeah, so that's why, you know, it's like why they succeed very quickly is because they already know what they are looking out for, and then when they meet that person, they are also choosing correctly. Like, you know, it's very satisfying for us actually, because of course, you know, we do have clients who are like very gorgeous, very eligible, you know, like really like the top 5% so-called, right? We also have clients who are like very normal, like, you know, they are like your very average, like, you know, Jane or Joe, right? And so it's very satisfying for us when they find someone, because it's like they really find someone, you know, it's not just on the very superficial markers, but really, you know, finding someone that they can connect with. And I think that's something that sometimes is missing in, I think, you know, going back to one of your earlier questions about why, you know, beautiful women sometimes might finish last. Yeah, because, you know, like women, like when they are very, very gorgeous, you know, in their 20s, like they have a lot of suitors. So I mean, I have a lot of beautiful friends. For some reason, like beautiful people, they love me. Like they are very attracted to me. So I have a lot of beautiful friends. So I have experienced, like, you know, I've gone out with this friend, and it's amazing. It's like everywhere we go, like everybody is looking at her. It's just amazing, right? Like just to have that kind of attention. And I remember asking her like a couple of years later, it's like, what is the most memorable first date you have ever been on? And she's like, oh, you know, there's this guy. So he chartered a helicopter. And then we went on like, you know, this date, and then like, the beautiful city view. So that's the first date. So obviously, you know, like how do you then continue to wow her? Like maybe charter a submarine next? Yeah. So my point is like her expectation is already there, because, you know, like she has so much attention. So that's the challenge, right? And then the problem is like for some reason they didn't settle down in that point. You know, like out of all the many suitors, they just didn't choose someone, or it just didn't work out. And then subsequently they are in their 30s, like even in their mid-30s. And when they're in their mid-30s, they still look gorgeous. Like, you know, but the problem is now those guys that used to be like chartering helicopters, they are going for the younger women. So then, but their expectation is already this high. So it's a bit difficult to kind of adjust. So for them, it's like a normal guy who is like probably would make a very good husband, very good father. They are not interested because they find maybe this guy is too boring. Yeah, but for a plain Jane, for them it's different, because it's like they probably don't get much attention, like maybe throughout the whole week, like nobody like tried to like, you know, ask for their numbers or anything, right? So when someone, you know, like sincere, who might be a bit shy, who might not be like so clearly a diamond yet, but when someone like, you know, pay attention to them, like they will really value that. And sometimes I also tell our clients is that guys who are obviously like already a diamond, obviously a lot of people will be interested in that. But there are a lot of guys who are unpolished diamonds. So it's actually up to you to polish that diamond.
Oh wow, that's a great reframe. So talking about dating, let's jump into marriage a little bit. what are some, of the barometers that you have now, that you knew before, before that you didn't know, that you would advise someone when you want to go into marriage?
Okay. I think, like in our culture, like we put a lot of emphasis on the wedding. Yeah, so actually wedding business is a great business because people are willing to just spend crazy amount of money, right? And sometimes I'm quite worried about that because I just feel that there's just so much emphasis on the wedding, thinking like the wedding is the end goal. But actually the wedding is just the beginning. Yeah, and I wish that people would put more emphasis on like preparing for that marriage. So for example, like for some religions, there's like marriage preparation course, but not all religions have this and not everybody's religious, right? So I always encourage couples, even though, like it's not mandated by their religions, to attend a marriage preparation course because then you go in with your eyes open. Because a lot of times, like, when you first meet someone and then you date, so some people, like they date a couple of years, some people maybe just date 1 to 2 years. Of course, you know the person, but you might not know the person deep enough. And also there are things that sometimes you just don't talk about when you are dating because it's a difficult topic or like there's just no good time to bring it up to talk about it. But those are very, very important conversations. Like for example, like how are you going to deal with finances, like how many kids do you want to have or do you even want to have kids? Like how do we deal with our family, all these things are very, very important. So it's like if you don't even figure out like before you get married how you want to deal with this, but you get married and then get into this and to find out to your horror that this person's view is completely different from you, then what are you going to do? So to me that is the scary part, and that's why even on our side when it comes to matching we place a lot of emphasis on compatibility of values because we feel that a lot of things, like be it we have different interests and hobbies, like I joke about it, but it's a real story. So there was this guy who came to us and then he's a very, very avid he loves scuba diving. I mean, he's a high-flying banker, or I think. And then when he's free, he goes scuba diving. So his criteria to us is like, whoever you match me up with must love scuba diving. So which I understand, but at the same time, to me, like I also like say, okay, even if she doesn't scuba dive, but she's willing to just like go on beach holidays with you. She can be like reading her magazine, on the yacht, like waiting for you while you scuba dive, whatever, right? I mean, it can be worked out. I think that's my point. But with values, because it's something that we grew up with, like for whatever reasons we have those values. So it's not easy to change, and it's important that you talk it out before you take that step, to commit yourself to live with this person for the rest of your life.
Got it. Well, what if it's a couple who has been dating for too long, and they just don't know if they can? I mean, everything's compatible,
Yes,
but it's comfortable, right? Yeah. And they don't want to take the leap. Like, is there anything that any questions that they should, as a barometer for that in that case? Because I think now you go on the note that like, oh, there's this thing, this and this thing to avoid and talk about. So let's say they're all done with that, but the guy is still very like uncertain. Is that what is that to push him over the age a little bit?
I feel, right? I mean, again, like I don't have numbers to back me up on this, but just based on personal experiences and hearing from friends and clients who like come to us eventually, there's usually something missing. Like chances are, like in these relationships where they have been dating for a very long time, it's one party that doesn't want to commit. And actually the other party wants to commit. But the other party, maybe knowing that this other party doesn't want to commit, they kind of say they don't want to commit as well. But usually it's very rare that both parties do not want to commit. Yeah. So then the question for the person who doesn't want to commit have to then ask him or herself, like, why? There must be a reason. Yeah, and the person who is actually want to commit but pretend that he or she does not want to commit also needs to ask themselves why. And especially if this person is the lady, she's actually at the losing end because every year actually works against her.
Oh, right.
Yeah, so we have clients who come to us, like they're in their mid-30s and they actually come out of relationships that lasted for 7 years. So in a way, they have just wasted 7 years of their youth on this guy that didn't marry her. And then, usually the story is very sad, right? Like then eventually this guy met someone else 1 year and then they got married. Yeah. So actually, our our advice, because sometimes we do workshops, like my advice to women is that do not waste your time with time wasters.
I think that's life advice in general. People can use that too.
Yeah. Because it's like, the thing is, right, because it's the hope, right? Because you have invested, like for example, I've invested 1 year, 2 years, 3 years. So if by the time you've invested 3 years, and then you are like, I've already invested 3 years. And if I start all over again, it's so like sayang, right? Like so like such a pity.
That's true too.
But then my question to them, it's like, do you want to invest another 3 years? Because if you leave now, you can potentially meet someone else who would be able to commit. So that's where I say to them, it's like you need to love yourself more. Because if you love yourself more, you will come up with an ultimatum. Because a lot of people, they are worried about doing ultimatums. They're like, oh, no, it's so childish.
What's the ultimate?
That means you just say that if you don't commit at this point, I'm going to leave you.
Okay.
Yeah. And I think like people are afraid.
So it's like a trump card.
Yeah, people are afraid to do that because they love the person so much, right? They're like, I can't live without this person, I really think we have so much going for us, it's like, it's just a matter of time he'll marry me, I know it, and to me it's like, yes, that's all great, but you need to love yourself more. Because it's like, if you don't walk away at this point, you might never walk away, and then you just need to live with the fact that this is how the relationship is going to be. I mean, unless you are completely happy that he will never marry you, then that's fine. But if you keep harboring the hope that it will go somewhere, and you keep waiting for him, then you're actually doing yourself a disservice.
Yeah. What about divorce though? Because being an Asian culture and divorce is such a taboo subject. What kind of things will you tell people if they should be considering that even to get started with?
Okay, this is like so scary. Like because when I was younger, I mean, of course, I read like the stats. I read books, and apparently, like they say that marriages, it's always like a wanted thing. Like so, it's like there's the 1/3 of people who are like generally like they're happy, and then there's the 1/3 that they are unhappy and probably they'll divorce, and maybe the 1/3 where they are like that, like sort of like not very happy, not very unhappy, but they kind of like cruise along. Yeah, and I'm like, really? Like I'm like that's like quite sad, right? Because like, I mean, being the idealist, right? I'm like, oh, people get married, they should be happy, they should, like love each other, spend, and as I grow older now, like I look at my friends, I look at acquaintances, right? And I really see that it is true, yeah. And then the challenge now is that I was actually just watching this TED Talk like just yesterday. Yeah, it's amazing. You should check it out. So this lady, it's like, I think she is a marriage therapist or a psychiatrist, something along those lines, where she meets a lot of people who have affairs. Yeah, and then she talk about like why people have affairs, which I mean to a certain extent maybe also it could be why people divorce as well. And it's very interesting because like in the past, when you get divorced or you have an affair, like it could be because you are because you're very miserable. Yeah, you're very miserable, like in whatever you are, and then you want to get away from this misery. But now, it's like people are actually looking at it as like, maybe it will make me happier. So it's not that I'm not happy, but maybe I can be happier.
Oh.
Yep. Yeah, but there's two sides of the coin, right?
Yes.
Okay, great. So there's a difference there, and so how can you then know maybe which side do you belong to?
I think that's just very, very tough. So that's why, like, for my husband and myself, right, like, we decided from day one that we would not use the word divorce, like, no matter like how bad things get, because I feel in a way that's like bailing out. Yeah, and like for us, it's really about, always putting our marriage first. So from the day we got married, I mean, we heard this sermon like many years ago, and then we felt that was really great, which is like always putting your marriage first. So like our marriage comes before our children, our marriage comes before our business. So if we have to make a decision, like it's always we will work on our marriage first, because like without our marriage, like the family wouldn't go well. Like I mean, the business is of course like then secondary. So I feel it's that decision that people have to make, because if you think about it, it's like again, you know, barring like physical violence, right, or whatever, like abusive, like relationship, you know, that aside, right?
Okay.
Yeah, okay. But other than that, it's like you think about it, it's a marriage. There's so many problems, and of course there will be problems. You know, just like maybe among colleagues, you just see each other for like 8 hours a day. There are problems. Like you're married to this person, of course there will be problems, and after a while you take each other for granted. You know, like all the things that used to like be very amused, you know, you find it very amused or very funny or very happy, might start to get on your nerves. Yeah, it's normal. So it's like getting out of this marriage doesn't mean that the next one will be better. So I think it's really that commitment of staying on to making it work, which I think now it's like there's always the what if. So sometimes I have conversations with people, so it's like, okay, their marriage is not like 10 out of 10, right? But maybe it's like 6 out of 10,
Okay.
5.5 out of 10. And the idea is that this is my last chance. You know, like if I get out of this marriage right now, maybe I can find a marriage that's 7 out of 10, or 8 out of 10, or 9 out of 10, or 10 out of 10. Yeah. So I think maybe that's why, you know, the older generation, they say that I don't know, like they say, you know, you guys just bail out at the first instance. I don't know. Yeah.
Okay.
I saw that you have a brief relationship, or still have a mentorship relationship with Claire.
Yes.
Claire Chang, she's from Banyan Tree.
That's right.
And how did that relationship form?
Okay.
yeah.
That's like super random. So after we started the business, and then of course, you know, like one of the best ways to like, you know, get people to know about us is like if we can appear on some media, right? But of course, again, that time we were very small, nobody have heard about us. And then a friend actually said that, hey, you know, like, do you know that there's this show coming up on like 938 Live? Yeah, and then they are going to talk about matchmaking. You know, like since you're doing this, why don't you get yourself onto the show? I think this person maybe is joking, right? But me being like very thick-skinned, so I really searched up the producer, and then I wrote her an email.
That's important, especially your business depends on it.
Yeah, and I'm like, oh, you know, so this is what I do, this is who I am, you know, like maybe, you know, like if you think that I can contribute, you know, like I will be very happy, you know, to come along. And she replied, and she said yes. Right, so Claire, she was at that point the chairperson of this government initiative called Romancing Singapore. Yeah, and so that's how we met. Yep, so it's like very random. So like I always say that the best thing that happened for me wasn't the radio show. Not that it wasn't good, but was really to meet Claire. Yeah, which was, I didn't expect it to end up that way. So I always tell like you know, like young aspiring entrepreneurs, right? Like just ask. You know, it's like just be very thick-skinned. You know, it's like what's the worst thing that can happen? Like they just say no, lor. Yeah, so that's what I always say, right? And from there, you know, she invited me to join the Rotary Club that she's part of, and yeah, and since then, you know, she has been a great mentor to me. Yeah, not just like, you know, from the business front, but also like really because, you know, I feel Claire is like really a woman that she has it all, and I think that's the question that a lot of people ask, like, can a woman have it all? Yeah, and I think, you know, like I mentioned just now, where I got married and I have kids, and then the career, and definitely, you know, like there will be times where you feel guilty about different things, you know, like am I not being a good enough wife? Am I not being a good enough mother? You know, like am I spending enough time on the business? Things like that. And I what I've learned from her, which was like very insightful, is that yes, a woman can have it all, but not all at the same time. Which I thought that was, yeah, very wise. Yeah, and I think since then, I kind of like don't beat myself up about a lot of things. Yeah, so like now I see my life like not in terms of days or even weeks, because it's like I travel so much. Like last month, I was like out most of the month. And if I just want to beat myself up, there's so many things I can feel guilty about, like my kids don't see me enough and things like that. But I arrange my life like really in like chunks of like months or even years. Yeah, so I have a routine, like I have a monthly date with like each of my kids. So it's just like me and my son, or me and my daughter, like me and my husband, me and my parents. And I actually organize all of this in Trello, which is like this project management. Yeah. And I have checklists, I tick it off, and then I have like my annual like mother-daughter trip, annual mother-son trip, annual couple trip, annual parents trip. Yeah, so like that's how I keep it going, because there's no way I can be spending like 4-5 hours a day with my kids. It's just not going to happen. And like if I beat myself up about that, then like I don't think I can just go about doing whatever I want to do. And the kids understand as well, because now they're older. And yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, I love that you do that, and it's also underscore that it's about quality. Yeah, not quantity.
So I think, to be fair, again, like, but for young kids, actually, quantity is also important. Yeah. So that's why, like, for example, weekends are like for my kids. So like I don't do anything on my weekends other than like spending time with my kids. And also school holidays, like that's where like I really like just be there like 24/7. We go on holidays where it's just us, because then I always say sometimes when I go on holiday, I feel more tired than working. Because when I'm at home, I have my helper, like there's the support network. But when I go on holiday with the kids, I'm the helper as well, like I have to clean up after
them.
that.
You do
like solo trip with each of them?
Yes, I do that.
Wow, that's very fascinating.
Yeah, because I learned that again from other people, like, and other entrepreneurs, and I tried it, and it was fantastic, because now, even though like I do spend time with them, but it's different, because like they will be fighting for my attention sometimes. Like Coco will be saying something, then Mei will be saying something. But when it's just us, like it's just very fun. Like they travel with me, and then usually it's a work trip, and then like when I'm working, they will like drawing or whatever, and then we'll have like one day where it's just like having fun, and then we'll go Disneyland, and it's just awesome.
So fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just to go back a little bit on Claire, how do you sort of like develop that relationship into something that maybe is longer term? Because I think a lot of people have the opportunity that's sort of like in front of their face, but then they don't know how to follow up.
I think what I have realized is a lot of these very successful people, they are definitely at the stage in their life where they want to give back. So actually, they would be very happy to mentor. So again, recently, I met another person that at first I was like feeling a bit like, should I not? And then once I asked, like he was just so open. He was like, yeah, I would love to mentor you. So I think sometimes it's really just asking. Yeah, and of course after that it's both ways, right? Like I think a lot of times like people see that it's about just taking, and that's also not the way to go about it. It's also like giving as well. So I think my relationship with Claire developed because I became a part of the Rotary Club that she's part of, and that's also very in line with what I enjoy doing, because Rotary Club is actually a service club. Yeah, so that's where I also give back, like where I will lead projects, and things like that, and that's how we keep that communication, and like we work together on many different things, and so eventually it's just very natural. Yeah.
Okay, so a quick round of questions.
Yes.
What are some books that would serve as a good primer into this whole relationship and dating sort
of? Two books that come into mind. One is Why Men Marry Some Women and Not Others. I can't remember the author, but I mean there's only one book that's under that name. And why this book is very interesting is because it's based on data. Yeah, so this guy basically hire people to stand outside the registry of marriage and then ask the guys.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. So I thought that was awesome. And another one is books by John Gottman. So John Gottman, it's like one of the gurus when it comes to like marriage and relationship. And again, it's also based on data. So he has it like really, drill down that he can just listen to a couple quarrel for like 10, 15 minutes and he can predict what's the likelihood of this couple going for a divorce or not.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So I were to start, which one should I go first with John?
What you are looking out
Go
for.
on.
Because
Okay.
there are people who are single, maybe it's more interesting for them to go for the first book, right? But
Right,
for
right.
people who are like already in a relationship, like or planning to get married, I mean the second book is good for people who are in a relationship.
Oh,
Be-
the
be-
title?
He has a lot of books.
Okay.
Yeah, so like I mean, just John Gottman, and then like there's one like 7 Principles of like a happy marriage, something a successful marriage, something like that.
Gottman, so
Gottman.
Gottman.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
What is the books or books you have given most as gift?
The John Gottman book.
Okay.
Yeah, but sometimes I worry that people get offended.
So you bought a whole collection for them?
No. Like sometimes when people get married, like then I'll give them this book. But usually it's for very, very close friends
Got
because
it.
like you don't want people to get very offended, right?
Yep,
Like, why are
yep.
you giving me this book? But because it has really helped Jamie and I in our marriage as well. Yeah, because there are just certain things to look out for. Like and as long as like I always say to people, I say it's fine to quarrel. Yeah, but it's how you quarrel that matters. And as long as you steer clear of some of these things, you are fine. You can quarrel every day. But just, you need to make sure you steer clear of some of these markers.
What have you purchased recently under $100 that has impacted your life most?
This is a tough one. Like when I saw the question, I'm like, like can't really think of any. But then I thought, actually, I
be a
would say,
subscription or-
it's actually this bracelet.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I'm doing like free advertising for them. So anyways,
It's good.
so I got this bracelet. It has the word like courage inscripted on it. So every year I actually have I'll think of a word, yeah, to sort of like guide me, throughout the year. So for last year, the word was connect. Yeah, and that's why I make it a point to like really connect with like new people, old people. So this year, like I feel that what would really bring me to the next level is the word courage. Yeah, and I thought like, how do I remind myself that this is the word? Like because last year, like it was kind of like, okay, that's the word and that's it. So I decided to get this like bracelet. Yeah, and I wear it every day, so it reminds me that this is my word.
And if people want to get the same bracelet,
It's from the Mindful Company.
There we go. The Mindful Company.
Yes.
It's sort of like an online thing. You just type in the
Yes.
words. And then
So
they ship it to you?
so there are some companies that that they actually you can decide on your own word and they make it. But for Mindful Company, it's already ready made, so they only have certain words. So luckily, they have the word that I wanted.
Got it.
Yeah.
what is the worst advice you see or hear being dispensed in your world?
I would say do something that you are passionate about. Yeah. Okay, so why I say that is because in my world, right, like I would say it's really the matchmaking business. So I see that a lot of people come into this business because they are passionate about it. Yeah, which is great because like I think for sure whatever you want to do, you need to have that passion. But passion is not enough. So what I've seen in this industry is that sometimes why people fail is because they have the passion, but they don't have the know-how, or they just don't have the business sense. And like it or not, ultimately, unless you're doing this for free, it is a business. So you need to, like, of course, be passionate about helping people, but also be able to scale up on your business sense if you originally, did not have, or you already have. So I think it applies to a lot of other things as well. Like, I think passion is not enough. It's like, more importantly, if you ask me, like, I feel it's also perseverance. Yeah, so it's really the like never say die, like just keep going, like just one step at a time, like because for me I feel that perseverance is like as long as you just keep putting one foot ahead of the other, you might be going slower than what you want it to be, but you would eventually get there as long as you do not stop.
Got it.
Are there any routines or habit that you find important?
So for me, like I have tried out a lot of different things. One thing that have worked out very well for me now is to practice like 15-20 minutes of yoga in the morning. Yeah, so that sort of just wake me up, and then like I feel healthier, you know, like stretches. And the evening routine is really like sitting down and then just having a conversation with my hubby. Yeah, because even though we work in the same office and we actually sit opposite each other, yeah, but there are days that like, you know, be it like he's having his own meetings and then like, you know, I'm running around outside. So we always have this, either we sit down, you know, have a tea together, or now like because we want to clock 10,000 steps. so so we will go out, you know, like walk, you know, like maybe grab a drink, or like sometimes, you know, just like walk around the estate. Yeah.
When you think of the word successful, who came into your mind and why?
I think that there are just many different people, yeah, and for many different reasons. So I think it's very difficult to sort of just put one person. But I think if someone that I personally know, like I would say is my mentor, Claire Chiang, because like I say, you know, I feel that she's someone who really have it all, in the sense that she runs her own business, you know, it's successful. She has a happy marriage. She has like 3 amazing kids, like because I've met all of them, like I'm very impressed, like how to raise like kids like that. And then and she's very I would say she's a change maker. Like, you know, she's very active in a lot of different things, like you know, be it like Rotary, which she invited me to join her, or like just like I think the latest one, she's like in National Defense.
Oh,
like
wow.
she's on that committee. It's like very interesting.
Okay.
Yeah, and previously she was like working with the zoo.
Yeah, I need to. Yeah, she's on the list now.
So I think to me it's not so much about like I mean, okay, if you ask me, like, not a person, but you ask me what success is to me, right? I think success to me is really to live up to your fullest potential. Yeah, and that's something that I'm very, very passionate about, like to really help people or encourage people or inspire people to live up to their fullest potential. Because I believe that each and every one of us, we have so much to give, but sometimes it's like due to like limiting beliefs, like we just stop ourselves. But if we can just have that sort of breakthrough, I think that's what success is about.
Any advice for your 20 and 30-year-old self, and place us where you're at?
20, 30-year-old self. I actually wrote a blog post on this. But I think if one thing, it's like really just
So this is to 20.
20, like do not worry so much about whether you are being liked. Yeah, as in like people like you. Like I think like that was something that was a very big thing for me, because being a very social person, like I always like feel that, oh, you know, people don't like me, or I feel like very snubbed for certain things. And I think it was like really quite a waste of time. Yeah, so I think, you know, I've come to the realization that there will always be people who like are your fans, and then there will be people who really hate you. And that's fine, you know, as long as you're at peace with yourself, you are doing the right things, you are, you know, like living up to the values that you have set up for yourself. To my 30-year-old self, I would say like be healthier. I am turning 37 this month, and seriously, right, like when I was 25, I felt it. When I was 30, I felt it. When I was 35, I felt it. Like I think like it's really not something to play with. Like I wish that I really have inculcated a lot more like healthy practices, be it like eating well, or be it like exercising, like when I was younger. Yeah.
All right.
Are there any asks or requests for the audience, things you'd like them to do or to think about? I think there's a lot to think about, really, to be honest.
Yes, definitely.
Any last parting words? No,
I
we can leave it.
I think like you know, whatever like their dreams are, like do not stop dreaming. Like I know like sometimes people might put you down, or like there are a lot of naysayers, which I have encountered a lot. Yeah, but I think, you know, if you truly believe in what you want to achieve, just keep going.
where can people find you or your projects on the interwebs?
They can find me. I keep a blog at violetlin.com, and of course, if they are interested to find out a bit more about what we do, they can go to lunchactually.com.
All right.
Yep.
All right, we're done.
Thank you.
Thank you for your